Good morning, guys. I had some requests for an update on my kayak trailer. I've done a couple things. I changed the jack. That was more just because I wanted a nicer jack. But one of the things I did up front is I welded this 2x2 quarter wall piece of angle so that I could mount these Sterilite boxes. Those are cheap boxes. They're mounted with a U-bolt through the bottom that I just, you can see back there, that I just, did with some silicone. And then I put these, D-rings across the front. That's so I can carabiner in the front of the kayaks without having to strap them down. If I'm only doing one layer, I just bring them up to the front, strap them down, and I can go, and carabiner them, I can go. And then I'm also working on putting a lock basically across the top of these. But so yeah, like I said, all I did was I welded a front toe, 2x2 quarter wall piece of angle, and then I added some more of the D-rings along the side. And then I added 3 along the back as well for those. So as far as the stanchions, what this is, you can kind of see how they're individual here. There was already a 1x1 piece of 1x1 square tubing for the for the top frame that came with the trailer. So what I did was I just cut these guys to length, put them on here, did an end around U-bolt. I nipped off the end of those so they wouldn't get my kayaks. And then I took black silicone and I just gobbed it as much as I could. I ran up all the seams. I ran around the U-bolts. I ran up and in. I ran under. I ran on the bolts. That's black silicone, and it's all over the place on those. So these are on the trailer all the time, but they're never in the way. And actually, it's kind of nice because sometimes if I'm doing, they act as pipe stanchions. So if I had 2 kayaks in here, if they were to bounce up or whatever, it's just a little bit extra height so they can't come out. So this is the bottom rack, and what I did here is in underneath that tape, these are actually drilled and bolted in addition to glued, but that's a cross tee, and these are standard tees that are on the edge, and then there's a down leg. So basically, like I said, all I do is take and then those are just noodles that have been split and zip tied, is all they are. So all I do is I take them and hook one, and hook the other. Yeah, and I just set them on. So like I said, that took me 10 seconds to set those on there. They're padded on the top with noodles. They're padded. Had I had it to do over again, I probably would have changed the direction of those to do one facing this way and one this way. The reason I did them the way they did is because there's enough padding on either side that it cushions them against the middle. But I mean, honestly, it's not even really necessary. The padding that I did on the crossbars is really to keep them from sliding as much as anything. It helps hold them in place. So if I'm running down the road, I just do that, and then I run. I'll do 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, and then I've got my tie downs, and I'll just go over the whole thing and connect them. So that's the way that works on the bottom level. The top level, now that you can see back there on the stanchions, I've got level, I'm all in the same horizontal plane. So where my first level just started here with a T, and then had a cross T, a down leg, and then just a cross T. These, since I'm all in horizontal plane, these are true M's, right? So I go up to a T, over to a cross T, down leg, nothing here. It does match with the top of my cross T there on my first level, and then I come over to another T and I go down, and then I can normally if I'm loading something like this, I'll load this level and then put them on, although you can also run them in from the back. I've done it both ways. It's not a big deal. And here I am completely racked up. I've got my top rack on. Again, had I had it to do over with, I would have actually had these, I would have rotated these 90 degrees this way so that whole thing was facing in. Same with these over here. The way it is, they're padded, they still catch it. And honestly, because I strap things over this way, they end up hugging this center rail anyway. Nothing even touches that outer post. But that's it. I'll do, now with my totes, maybe I won't anymore, but normally I'll run totes on this bay, and then I'll have my heavy kayak here, and then my wife and my kids' kayaks up here. And then what I do is I go over each level. I put one, I do 2 straps on the first level, and then, one in the front, one in the back, and then I do 2 straps over the top level, one in the front, one in the back. And then I'll show you here. I did get some questions about my longitudinal stability, this way as I'm braking or what have you, if they have a tendency to lean forward or aft. What I did there is, yeah, I'll run a strap here and I'll show you. Okay, you can see this strap that runs the length. I had a commenter, and like I said, I put these D-rings in up here so that I could hook into that. I had a question on how much rigidity I get this way when I load up, 400 pounds worth of kayaks on these things, or 200 pounds or whatever it is, with braking and things like that, on how it works. So when I initially did it, I thought about connecting the stanchions with longitudinal rails here, but then I end up with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6-foot tubes, and it becomes difficult to, more difficult to put it together, and I don't really need them if I'm only going to my first level stanchion and not putting my second level on. So what I decided to do was just do a strapping. So what I've got here is I've just got a 20-foot ratchet strap. I start it here, I go up. If you can see there, I go over, around, and I just loop it. I actually come around. You can kind of see how I go over and then back around the other side. And then I come this one, I do the exact same thing, and I tie it in right there. But now, when it moves, I've got it loaded up with kayaks, and it doesn't move at all. And it just tied the whole thing down. And then, like I said, once I get them loaded up, I just use my D-rings down here, and I go over each level. And these things are rock solid. And like I said, I've gone 1,000-mile radius on multiple occasions now, and yeah, haven't had a problem at all. So anyway, hope that helps. Hope that helps you guys in making some sort of a decision, or if you want to build something like this. But the whole thing, all this stuff comes off in 4 pieces. It actually hangs flush against my wall. It doesn't stick out any further. They hang right next to that ladder where that sign is, and they don't stick out any further from the wall than that ladder does. And then that's 2 of them, and then the other 2 actually go on the other side of it between those windows. So it works really well. There's grass on this trailer once a week. I take this thing down, I put it together, and I put this thing together in the rain this morning in, 2 minutes. So anyway, that's how we do it, and hope you guys enjoy it. And if you build one, good luck.